everyone, welcome to another episode of the PromoMinds podcast. I'm your host, Steve Leslie, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of a personal brand. So, a personal brand has been a hot topic over these last couple years, and it's become more and more apparent that the personal brand is the thing that people need to focus on regardless of what industry you're in, what job you're going for. Like the personal brand, that is one of the best things that you can focus on today. Case in point, have you ever watched a reality TV show like Survivor or The Bachelor or anything like that? Slowly over time, just by watching the show, like you might laugh at characters or not really be drawn to characters, but then there's also characters that seem sincere and genuine and you're actually rooting for in like those circumstances, right? Well, what they're doing, they're not selling you on anything other than their own personal brand, just by the values that they have and how they interact with people and the knowledge that they know and share and how they speak and how they treat people. That's the kind of stuff that is more appealing to us because, we like to do business with people we know, like, and trust. And to get a better understanding on who a person is, there's an old saying, watch what a person does, not don't listen to what they say, watch what they do, follow the actions, not the speech. And in order to do that, you have to become more and more familiar with someone just by seeing, how they interact on a daily basis. It's like, dating, and those first couple dates or the first few dates, they seem like such an incredible person and this larger than life person that might they're putting on their best self, right? But you're not seeing their true self, if that makes sense. I've always said, it's easy to love someone when things are good. When times are good and, you're smiling, you're laughing, it's easy. But what do you do in the hard times? How do you react when things don't go your way? When things, when you face challenges, when you have to cross these hurdles and all that, how do you respond? Or how does your partner respond in those scenarios? Those moments is really the make or break of a relationship. And so it's very important that just as an individual, when you face challenges to, there are challenges that you think are just absolutely impossible to face and to overcome. And sometimes challenges that you face aren't meant to be overcame, just meant to face it. And that's building character and courage. They say courage doesn't come from the outcome of a fight or a battle. It's in showing up even if you get your butt kicked. And when you face challenges, how you respond to those challenges weighs heavily on who you are as a person. And if you have been running from challenges, the next challenge that you face, just stay in a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And slowly over time, you start to build that self-confidence and you learn and you keep failing forward. You keep getting up. And as you progress through that, it builds character and helps you get through those hard times and gives you more positive responses every time there's a challenge that comes your way. More from the PromoMinds podcast coming up shortly. PromoMinds. Promote your brand, transform your business. Back to what we're talking about with the whole personal brand, how are you able to display who you are? Now, this might take some thinking. And recently I was listening to a podcast, and the gentleman was talking about the 5 pillars of your brand, to, brainstorm 25 to 30 words, phrases, all that stuff that you feel resonates with you. And then once you've done that, go back over it and circle 5 of the 25 or 30 phrases or words that you've written down that best describes who you are. Now, to go one step further with that, you can label them or list them from 1 to 5. So top priority, or the word or phrase that resonates with you the most or best describes you. And, that's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and finally number 5. And a good strategy to use for social media and to display that is treat it like you're doing a 5-day system. So each day you have scheduled posts to display that aspect of your personal brand. What do you want people to know about you? And how do you want, what do you want to come to mind when they think about you? This is something that I started exploring with, almost a decade ago, because I was known as the musician. Every time I would see people at, some event in my hometown, when you go back to your hometown and you're at an event, and then you're catching up with your old high school friends and what they would ask, and almost every time I would get asked, how's the band? And that was great because they knew that I was in a band, they knew I played music. But over time I started doing other things, and I started venturing out and getting into hiking, getting into real estate, and getting more into sales and marketing and that sort of thing. And all of a sudden, music was just one aspect of me, and I was focused on all these other priorities, but I only got asked about music. So I thought, okay, I need to distance myself from the music thing, because I didn't want to be known as the musician. I cherished it, but that wasn't what I wanted people to think of when they thought of my brand. Now, this is me looking back at those moments now, but I do recall in those moments knowing I don't want to be known as a musician. So how do I change that? And so I started distancing myself from music, and I ventured more into real estate and sales, marketing, into those spaces. Specifically when it comes to the pool and spa industry, because I wanted to get known. Nobody knew who I was, and I became the go-to guy at the company that I was at. And so I needed to get better equipped to help serve, but also I needed more people to know who I was to attract more customers to us. Hey guys, if you're into hiking at all, I highly recommend subscribing to my YouTube page, Steve Leslie Hikes. That's Steve Leslie Hikes on YouTube. I have a lot of content on there from some of the crazy hikes that I've been on, including Angel's Landing in Zion National Park. And it'd be really cool to connect on there. So please check me out. Thanks. So by distancing and not posting as much about music and focusing about more posts on real estate, sales, marketing, the pool industry, and that, I was able to develop more of a brand around those things than I was. All of a sudden it changed, and people weren't asking about the music thing anymore. They were asking me like, I see you got a place in Michigan. I see you got another place in Ontario. Like, there's these other things that are going on in my life because that's what I'm showing. And so if you become more intentional about what you're posting and to have a plan of action as it relates to that, to say like, I'm gonna post or have scheduled posts, Monday to Friday. Those are my 5 days, right? And then the weekends, I might post in my stories just about what I'm up to, or simple things like that. But that's a great start, a great strategy to have. What 5 things do you want people to know about you and to think about you as it relates to, it doesn't even have to relate to your business. It's just you. That's what personal branding is all about. Because, I can sit here talking about like sales strategy, market strategy, branding strategy, all that stuff. And you would have no idea that, for the last week or two, my girlfriend and I have become almost addicted to the Skinwalker Ranch series on the History Channel. And so, see what just happened? That right there. Now you have a little piece of information into my personal life. And some of you might have been turned off by that. And some people might feel more attracted to my tribe just because, I'm into that stuff. And that's what I mean. The little subtleties of personal branding to help attract more people into your tribe. And, you're obviously going to push some away, but that's fine. If you're looking for an amazing book to read on resilience, definitely check out Terry Fox, His Story by Leslie Scrivener. That book changed my world, and definitely check it out. Like, I can't say enough for him. Terry Fox, His Story. As Seth Godin says, you want to find the smallest viable audience that you can make a living off of. And personal branding is, to me, there's so much that needs to be done, and as far as being intentional about your personal brand, so you don't go on these rants and you don't engage with all the negativity and like who is attracted to negativity? Negative people. So if you want to hang out with negative people, then go ahead, make that your daily routine. But if you want to attract more positive people, if you want to attract people who are into similar things that you're into, and maybe there's a certain sport that you like, or a certain show or podcast that you listen to, or maybe it's just as easy as a place downtown that you like to go to and hang out with. There's all these things, all these characteristics that help build a personal brand. And in order to attract that tribe, become more intentional about what you're putting out there and utilize the strategy that we talked about to help further your brand, and keep thinking of ways on getting known in your space, but just getting known in general. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the PromoMinds podcast. I'm your host, Steve Leslie, and until next time, take care. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of PromoMinds podcast. I'm Steve Leslie, and if you want help crafting your message or sharing your story, feel free to reach out. I'd love to help. Love coming up with ideas, and we can have a nice chat. So reach out to promominds@gmail.com and I'll respond. Take care.